Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and hearing something impossible outside your window. Not a car, not a plane, but the ground shaking. You look outside, and walking through your city streets is a 40-foot predator with teeth the size of bananas, a Tyrannosaurus rex. Above you, shadows cross the sky. Wings wider than a small airplane glide silently overhead. And suddenly you realize something terrifying. Humans were never supposed to inherit this planet. Because for most of Earth's history, it belonged to something else. Dinosaurs. But what if the asteroid that wiped them out had never hit Earth? Would dinosaurs still rule the planet today? Would mammals ever rise to power? And the biggest question of all, would humans exist at all? Tonight we remove a single moment from Earth's history and watch an entirely different world unfold. 66 million years ago, Earth experienced one of the most catastrophic events in the history of life. A gigantic asteroid roughly 10 kilometers wide hurtled toward the planet, traveling at more than 20 kilometers per second. It struck the Earth near what is today the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact carved out the massive Chicxulub crater. The explosion released more energy than billions of nuclear bombs. Shockwaves traveled across continents. Entire coastlines were struck by mega tsunamis. Molten debris blasted into the atmosphere. And when that material fell back to Earth, it ignited forests across the planet. Within hours, huge portions of the world were burning. But the real catastrophe came next. Dust and sulfur filled the atmosphere. Sunlight disappeared. Temperatures dropped dramatically. Photosynthesis collapsed. Plants died. Then herbivores. Then predators. Within a geological instant, about 75% of all species on Earth vanished. Among the most famous victims were the dinosaurs, creatures that had ruled the planet for over 160 million years. From the massive Tyrannosaurus rex to the horned giant Triceratops, entire evolutionary dynasties disappeared forever. But what if that asteroid had missed Earth entirely? Because if that rock had passed by our planet, the world outside your window today might look unrecognizable, and humans might never have had the chance to evolve. In our timeline, the extinction of dinosaurs opens something extremely important: ecological space. For millions of years, dinosaurs dominated almost every large animal niche on land. When they disappeared, those roles suddenly became empty, and another group of animals was ready to take advantage of the opportunity: mammals. During the age of dinosaurs, mammals already existed. But they were tiny. Most were the size of a mouse. They lived in burrows, climbed trees, hunted insects, and mostly stayed active at night to avoid dinosaurs. But after the extinction, everything changed. Within a few million years, mammals began evolving rapidly. Some became large predators. Others became massive herbivores. Some returned to the oceans and evolved into whales. Others evolved hooves and became horses. And in tropical forests, a group of tree-dwelling mammals appeared: primates. Millions of years later, one lineage of primates developed something unusual: huge brains, tool use, complex language, civilization, humans. But this entire evolutionary chain depended on one critical moment: the extinction of dinosaurs. Remove that extinction, and the entire story of humanity might vanish before it even begins. Here's something surprising. Dinosaurs were not heading toward extinction before the asteroid hit. For a long time, scientists thought dinosaurs might already have been declining. But newer fossil discoveries tell a different story. At the end of the Cretaceous period, dinosaur ecosystems were still incredibly diverse. Hundreds of species occupied nearly every environment on land: dense forests, river floodplains, deserts, coastal wetlands. Many species were still evolving rapidly. Some were developing feathers. Others were becoming more specialized predators. plant-eating dinosaurs were evolving new feeding strategies. In other words, dinosaurs weren't fading away. They were thriving. The asteroid didn't finish a dying group. It interrupted a successful one. So if that asteroid never arrived, the age of dinosaurs simply continues. And that would create a completely different evolutionary battlefield for life on Earth. One where mammals might remain small, forever. If dinosaurs remained dominant, mammals would face a huge problem: competition. Large animals require enormous amounts of food and territory. Dinosaurs already filled those roles. Massive plant eaters controlled vegetation. Huge predators ruled the top of the food chain. There simply wasn't much space left for mammals to expand. So mammals likely remain what they were for most of the dinosaur era: small, secretive, nocturnal, rodent-sized animals living in the shadows of giants. The rise of giant mammals might never happen. No mammoths. No elephants. No rhinos. And possibly no primates. And if primates never appear, the entire evolutionary path that eventually leads to humans disappears. But evolution rarely follows just one path. If mammals never dominate, could intelligence evolve in dinosaurs instead? Some scientists think the possibility is real. Certain dinosaurs already showed signs of advanced brain development. One famous example is Trudon. This dinosaur had one of the highest brain-to-body ratios among known dinosaurs. It possessed forward-facing eyes, grasping hands, and excellent depth perception, traits often associated with intelligence. If evolution continued for tens of millions of additional years, natural selection might favor increasingly intelligent dinosaur species. Some paleontologists have even imagined a hypothetical creature sometimes called a dinosauroid, a descendant of small theropods, bipedal, large-brained, possibly capable of using tools. However, this remains speculative. Evolution does not guarantee intelligence, but it shows that the possibility exists, which raises a fascinating question. If intelligent dinosaurs evolved, what kind of civilization might they build? Without the extinction event, Earth's ecosystems might evolve along completely different paths. Massive herbivorous dinosaurs would continue shaping forests and landscapes. Their feeding patterns would influence plant evolution. Flowering plants might develop different defenses. Grasslands might appear later than they did in our timeline. And even climate patterns could shift. Large herbivores influence vegetation. Vegetation affects the carbon cycle. And the carbon cycle influences global climate. Over tens of millions of years, these small differences could produce a very different planet. But the land wouldn't be the only place dinosaurs continued evolving. The skies might look even more unbelievable. In our world, flying reptiles called pterosaurs disappeared in the same extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. But without the asteroid, they might still exist today. Some pterosaurs were enormous. The giant Quetzalcoatlus had a wingspan comparable to a small airplane. It could walk on land like a giraffe, and then launch itself into the air. In a world where pterosaurs survived, the skies might still belong to gigantic flying reptiles. Birds, which are technically dinosaurs, might remain just one branch of a much larger evolutionary tree. Instead of dominating the skies, birds might compete with many other flying reptile species. Fast forward 66 million years, and Earth might become a place humans wouldn't even recognize. Imagine Earth today in this alternate timeline. Towering forests filled with enormous herbivores. Massive predators stalking prehistoric plains. Gigantic marine reptiles ruling the oceans. Enormous flying reptiles crossing the skies. And hidden beneath all of it, small mammals still surviving. Tiny. Adaptable. But perhaps never rising to power. The dominant animals of the planet would still be reptiles, just as they were for over 160 million years before the asteroid. Which brings us to the most important question of all. Would humans exist? The honest answer is probably not. Human evolution required a very specific chain of events. The extinction of dinosaurs, the rise of mammals, the evolution of primates, the development of large brains, complex language, advanced social structures. Remove the extinction event, and that entire evolutionary pathway may never appear. Earth would still be full of life, still evolving, still beautiful, still dangerous. But the dominant intelligence on the planet might never be human. Civilization might never exist. Cities might never rise. Technology might never be invented. And the story of humanity would never begin. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember something extraordinary. The entire story of humanity may exist because of a single asteroid, a random object traveling through space, that happened to collide with Earth 66 million years ago. A cosmic accident that reshaped the destiny of life on this planet. Without it, dinosaurs might still rule the Earth, and the world would belong to creatures we can only imagine. But because of that one impact, a new lineage of animals rose from the shadows. Mammals. And eventually, us. Civilizations. Cities. Science. Art. And the ability to ask questions about our own origins. Which means something remarkable. The universe didn't plan humanity. It simply gave us a chance.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next reality.